So let's begin, guys. As we know, during times of global hardship and economic uncertainty, the art market is seen as a safe haven. During the past few months, online sales have increased radically due to the coronavirus pandemic. According to UBS and Art Basel, its investors over $1 million have increased their online purchases. And according to Non-Fungible, the market has seen an increase in NFT sales volume of $130 million. Unfortunately, only $8 million have gone to this ecosystem from the art market. The question is, how do we direct the physical art collectors to the digital art and NFT market? Kate, would you like to begin?
Let me unmute myself. Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, thank you for invitation. Happy to join. Well, to answer your question, I think the crucial part is education of both artists and collectors. And I think, artists has reasonable solutions at the moment with marketplaces, the panelists of which are here with us tonight, and I think they are doing an excellent job by reaching out to the new emerging and mid-career artists. But I believe that the attracting of collectors is a bit trickier. And at the moment, we have a mixed type of new type of collector, like crypto collector, who probably doesn't require any education on the tech part, but more on the art part. At the same time, we can't sustain this ecosystem only relying on crypto art collectors. So we do need traditional art collectors to join the space, and therefore to increase probably both numbers in sales and an average check spend. So for traditional art collectors, I think we need a broader education and to start with basics about describing the new technology, what is blockchain and why do we need to use it, what benefits this blockchain technology brings, and etc. I spend hours with collectors helping to set up their MetaMask wallets and guiding them through the space of different crypto marketplaces, as well as introducing them to new digital artists. And it takes time and a lot of patience, but I think I learn with them, and they know from us, from all of us. So everyone benefits, and I just guess let us establish more educational sessions for both types of collectors and wait, because I think time makes a trick. And if we remember correctly, back in 2018, there were only a few artists and a few, let's say, virgin collectors and in crypto space, and in just 2 years, look at what numbers we have achieved altogether.
Okay, perfect, great. Jason, would you like to go ahead and continue?
Jason? Sure, guys, it's a pleasure to be here. My name's Jason from Portion, and regarding this question, I would agree full-heartedly with Kate. It's all about education, and the market is still very new, and digital art is still coming in very rapidly. And it seems like COVID has kind of expedited what's happening here. I think everybody would have been moving towards virtual things anyway within the next decade. I think that COVID has expedited that with people working remotely, and it's really about educating the market. Really, I mean, I still get a lot of questions about people who say that they can copy, right-click, save as a digital art piece. So it's an education process of showing collectors and artists that these are really exciting, non-fungible things, and there is value in having digital art. And as new collectors, millennials, Gen Z start to get involved in the ecosystem, there's going to be a lot more improvement and excitement in the space, especially as big brands and larger artists start to create these NFTs and show their users and their community what digital art is all about.
Great. That's perfect, Jason. David, would you like to add to this? Oh, David, you're on mute.
It's late here in the UK, so apologies. Hi, John. Hi, Kate. Hi, Jason. Hi, Roger. I just want to start by thanking Roger and the Bit Basil team for kind of putting this together and inviting us on. I think sometimes we forget to thank the people that kind of put these panels together. It takes a lot of work. So I just want to start by saying thanks for inviting me. I've got a slightly kind of different take to it. Kate's got way more experience than me in this kind of like education piece, but I actually think that bringing established artists into the space is the kind of key to bringing traditional collectors. They almost don't have time to care and be educated about the tech. They just want to trust it. And let's say David Hockney decides to sell an animated piece of one of his iPad digital drawings, the My Window. If he decides that he wants it verified and he decides that he wants to put it on KnownOrigin, a collector isn't going to take the time to then go and learn about blockchain technologies and why it's so great. He's just going to want to be the first person to buy the first animated piece by an iconic master in the pop art kind of movement. I can see why we think education is really important, but from a product background, I think if we have to sit with people for 2 hours educating them about why they should use this product, the messaging's wrong, or there's something much deeper that we need to kind of figure out. And I believe collectors, I don't think they care too much about the tech. I think they're drawn by the artists. I think Nifty Gateway is showing that if you can get big names, you can draw a non-crypto crowd quite quickly. And artists and collectors, from what I've seen, have a couple of things in common. Artists like to kind of try and be the first to do something, and collectors like to be the first to own the new thing. And you can see this throughout history. So I think if we dial that up more, I think there's something there that we could probably, as a community and as an industry, kind of drive on more than expecting a bunch of new collectors to figure out this new tech and sit and be educated, because they simply don't have time.
I completely agree, David. This is definitely what's definitely happening in the space now. John, would you like to add to this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Roger, thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. But yeah, I think it's kind of a mix of. I tend to agree with both what David said and what Kate said. There's a lot of education that is still happening. At the same time, I think more high-profile artists can help draw in more traditional collectors. And then I think a third component also is kind of like the display experience. I think that it's still pretty fragmented. Like if you talk to folks about how they go and kind of like display or enjoy the art, it's a pretty fragmented ecosystem. And so I think we could do a lot of work there to help help the experience feel a little bit more tactile. I think we could use someone like a Steve Jobs or somebody to come in and say, this is what you guys think you want this, but actually how you want digital art to be enjoyed is this. So I think there's like still a lot of room for improvement around the display experience that will help people who, like David said, don't have time to learn about the tech. They'll feel a little bit closer and more connected to the art pieces themselves. So I think it's a combination of education, raising awareness, and then also having better kind of more integrated display solutions.
I totally agree, John. So this leads us to the next question, which is, so as we know, blockchain technology has found useful applications in the art world, mostly for establishing provenance for valuable works of art. As we know, using a blockchain network allows us to monitor and trace the ownership of artwork and authenticity. For example, earlier this year, Christie sold a digital portrait of Bitcoin's code for over 130,000. This was a breakthrough for the space, for a renowned auction house to conduct a sale of a non-fungible token. So we believe that this is the first stage of digital art and non-fungible tokens, where eventually any type of creator or artist will be able to share their digital art through blockchain, which leads us to the question: is how do we onboard artists and creators to this technology?
I guess you want me to answer that, right?
Yes.
No, I just want first to comment on David's. Sorry, it's very late here as well, so I'm a little bit. I had already like 10 coffees. Yeah, I think the popularity of the artist. I mean, just to answer both questions actually at the same time. Popularity of the artists is important, and yes, you can benefit, of course, by reaching out to the popular well-known artists from the traditional art world, and therefore attracting the traditional art collectors at the same time, because they will follow the artists that they like and know already for ages. But at the same time, in order to purchase it, they still need to know how, and they still need to know how to set up a MetaMask wallet. So of course, I'm not doing any educational sessions, with collectors what is blockchain, because I have no technical background myself. But in order, like a basic steps, for the first time to explain to them what actually was going on, because even on Nifty Gateway, I had to follow up with a few collectors afterwards and explain them where the hell the token is, because they purchased the NFT with a credit card. And then they were like, okay, we have MetaMask account, and we have to transact from this account to our MetaMask account. But how do we view our work? Where is our work? Kate, where is our work? Can you please find our work? And I'm like, guys, you have it. No, we lost it. We lost it somewhere. Believe me, people are freaking out. So it's not so easy. It's very basic for you guys because you are into this space. But for the people who have no clue, it's really like, they're still fragile and very insecure, in a way of how to deal with this sort of thing. They really want to be trendy and follow the artist if he is or she is the one going to the blockchain space and doing something with tokenization and stuff like that, and sell their artwork on one of the platforms. But at the same time, they still feel very insecure, by saying, okay, where is my token? How do I view it? Is it secure? What happens if I lose the keys? How can I access it? If something happens to the token, who is going to burn it? Is it possible to burn it? And all these details, they don't want to know the technical part, but they want to know still the same as in a normal reality, that about the provenance, about the storage, about the security of their asset, and how to deal with it in the future, how to resell it, and how to hedge themselves from also the cryptocurrency risks, etc. So, and to answer your question, Roger, I guess, there's no, I don't see a real problem, honestly, but to attract new artists into the space, because by promoting of how blockchain can support an artist to receive constant revenues and that they can benefit from the royalties from a secondary market, I think we won't need to wait long to see the positive results. And I see that there are new artists joining on a weekly basis, more and more, not necessarily from a traditional contemporary art space, but also like as a digital artist, and they have an interest. I'm more concerned about that still in this in the platforms, the quality and the popularity of the artist. If he is known from a traditional space, he entered this space, and some of the collectors, some of the followers of this artist follow him and they buy. But that doesn't necessarily work for the crypto collectors or for the crypto artists. Sorry, if the crypto artist became popular in the crypto space and he enters to the traditional art world, it's not going to work. For his popularity won't help him to be successful, with the traditional art collectors. So I think here here this is somewhere the gallery can help, probably. Yeah, and I will let everybody else speak. Otherwise, it's
Thank you. Jason, would you like to add to this?
Sure. So specifically, the questions regarding how to onboard mainstream artists and collectors. And I really think the most important thing here is focusing on the new revenue model that blockchain can provide. And very simply, we've seen Bitcoin be absolutely revolutionary for financial transactions. You know, borderless financial transactions that are, you know, I mean, I think it's the future. I think that a lot of amazing things can happen there. And I think history is essentially repeating itself in the digital art space. You know, we have the incumbent firms, auction houses, Christie's, Sotheby's, and the similarity between that and Bitcoin would be, the metaphor is Bitcoin and the banks, digital art, and incumbent auction houses. And, you know, guys, in those auction houses, they're charging up to 40% fees. There are times when the artists aren't getting their royalties, and there's a lot of issues that smart contracts on Ethereum can really solve. You know, artists can get 100% of their sale. Artists can get a royalty at their discretion. And when this is all baked into a smart contract, the fees go down, of course, you guys know. And to get these mainstream artists and collectors on, it's again an education process for them to understand that this can be better than the old way of doing things, just like Bitcoin is better than the old way of doing things in that case.
Okay, great. Great, Jason. Thank you. David, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I actually really wholeheartedly agree with Jason on that one. That it is going to kind of revolutionize the creative industries. I think art is known for like adopting this early kind of tech and kind of running with it. The Bohemians kind of get hold of it and like really experiment with it. But I think it's going to go vertical as well, where we're going to see filmmakers, musicians, songwriters, music producers, the whole creative industries are going to see the potential of kind of smart contracts, secondary royalties, secondary sale royalties, because it's the thing that the old world can't compete with. It's like it's there, but it's broken. This is a potential thing that's going to make it work and make it work for the future. And I'm kind of excited by the new people that are coming into the scene. And I know that there's a lot of like back and forth on, like, Twitter seems to be this kind of where the like crypto lives right now. And you see a lot of back and forth around like saturation of marketplaces and abundance versus scarcity, where I'm like, screw all that. We're giving creatives an opportunity to archive, like future-proof their work, get immutable pieces onto a distributed network. And for me, it's like protect your work, promote yourself, and then monetize later. Like the focus right now in the scene is like money, 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 money. And that's not, in my mind, where this all started. This was about like getting artists in a place where they could get authenticity, provenance, and then the money comes later, in my mind.
Okay, great, David. John, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I'd say we're seeing quite a few kind of like, I guess you have to define what is a mainstream artist, but I think we are seeing, lots of mainstream, artists, collectors, kind of people are sort of taking notice and interest in the industry. And so it's kind of happening, right now, like people are figuring out how wallets work. And I feel like there's like palpable energy, right? It kind of like, you can feel that there is, there's a movement happening. And I also think that, as like with lots of revolutions, or, you can think about like Bitcoin or something, like what's special about Bitcoin, it didn't require people from the banking world to get involved really early. Like there's just so much, like it's such a powerful tool. And so I think we're seeing something similar here where like this is a really, like, this technology is extremely powerful. It can be super helpful for artists and collectors. And I think, you know, it already has a lot of momentum, and it's kind of going to continue to grow, whether or not, you know, we have big inflow from the current contemporary art market. You know, it's here to stay, and it's going to keep growing, just kind of organically.
Okay, that's perfect. That makes a lot of sense. So now let's move on to the last part. This is going to be a little fun. It's just we're gonna pretty much open our creative sites and see, where do you see this ecosystem going? It can be, the crazier the better, guys. Just give us a vision of where you see this ecosystem going. So Kate, would you like to start? Oh, you're on mute, Kate.
There are many challenges. I think, I still wanted to say something about new joiners, from the side of artists. What I experienced recently is that also to attract these artists to the platform is one way, and we are happy if more artists join. But I see a few issues. First is when they join, not everyone has a possibility to sell their art and to reach out to the right collector. And it's still pretty much driven by the crypto collectors, who also have their preferences and tastes. And also by introducing more artists and more artists and more art, and they produce. Even the limited amount of, let's say, dedicated crypto collectors who are constantly browsing through their platforms and looking for some new talents, even them, they're getting a little bit confused and lose a track, So when they see some of the artists, let's assume from traditional art world, joining, they not necessarily like it, and they not necessarily buy it. So the good quality artists from traditional art world, they get a little bit offended and feel undervalued, and tend to lose the interest and say, hey, I cannot sell, my art is not appreciated here by the crypto collectors, I'm going to leave. And they leave the room. So not to only attract the traditional artists, but also to keep them and make them comfortable, and make them, to explain them that they have to be just patient, and maybe also to navigate them to find their right collector. This is also a hard work, and I think it's a crucial part not to miss, that we also not only attract the lead and convert it to the artist, but also keep this artist and take care of the artist, and also probably to link it to the right type of collector, and carry on educating also crypto art collectors in order to explain maybe a little bit of why this type of art is important, why this artist is a pioneer, and why the quality is a bit different from another. Some kind of characteristics that probably one cannot see from the surface. And that's probably the reason why still the middle woman like me, between all these platforms, still valid, trying to kind of matchmake between one and another, and try to be fair to one and another, because for me it's more kind of obvious, the preferences of the artist and preferences of the collectors. And yeah, there are many challenges now. To answer your question, Roger, what I see, some major issues in this ecosystem, but I hope we are all not simply replicating the worst of the traditional art market. And as a new generation of collectors, and mainly entrepreneurs, actually, who drive this space, I hope we are going to make smart decisions and keep the ethics in this art and tech space, and find the best solution to keep the balance between the quality and the quantity. as well as bring transparency to the market, grow new, really good generation of true collectors, and not the anonymous speculators. That's just my wishful thinking.
Perfect. Great. Great. So, guys, we only have a couple minutes left. So let's hopefully try to keep it a little brief. Jason, do you want to go ahead and tell us your vision from the future?
So, it to be a huge phenomenon in the future. I think that creative expression in general will be considered a form of currency in the future when different things take over in our world. And, you know, there's things like artificial intelligence doing jobs and things like that. Creativity becomes really essential. And for people to be able to take their creativity and put it into the form of an NFT and show that to a market, what they've created, I think it's very important. And I think people will carry around digital art on their phones, and will be able to show one another on their phone new pieces that they've collected and pieces they're aspiring to have or pieces they've created as well. I know we're running low on time here, so I'll pass the mic over to David now.
Yes, David. David, would you like to share?
Yeah, so we talk about vision for what's coming in the next like 5 years. So I think I'm very similar to Jason. Really, I think that the kind of the commodity of having a creative outlet and being able to monetize that will be that'll be rare in itself, and I think there'll be a value on that. And I think having the ability to kind of partner with galleries and people creating their own collections and kind of expressing themselves through the things that they've collected, which already happens right now in the physical world, but we now have a place where, as we move towards this kind of virtual kind of environments and shared experiences, like I can bring you into my virtual home and kind of show you the digital assets and the digital fashion that I own, and I can show you the whole kind of my whole self-identity, but in this kind of digital realm. And I'm really interested in like how sustainable fashion could quite quickly move towards this like kind of digital fashion houses. And we've seen Gucci get into the scene quite recently. I know Fabricant are looking at how they can have mixed realities. So you essentially wear one outfit and there's AR filters that give you the rest of the outfit. There's digital makeup that's coming. So it's like these mixed realities are accelerated by what's been happening with the pandemic. And I think it's going to happen a lot quicker. And so I think the future is going to be a series of digital assets that people own, whether it's art, fashion, lifestyle, and you can just come and join me in my VR experience, and I can kind of I can social signal that this is the stuff that I'm into and this is my tribe. It's kind of like what happens in the real world, but it's going to go full on kind of VR, in my opinion.
That's super interesting, David. That's really interesting. John, would you like to share with us your vision?
Yeah, sure. I think we're almost over, so I'll try to keep it brief. But yeah, I think I kind of second what everyone said. I think we're entering an interesting time with like technology, like VR technologies, AR technologies are getting a lot better and cheaper. Displays and projectors are getting better and cheaper, and I think we're going to see art take on sort of an experiential element, whether that's like a shared experience or, the art itself is like a thing that you enter and there's, it's kind of like, can be multifaceted. And so, yeah, I think it's, art's kind of evolving with the technology, which I think is super interesting.
Okay, that's super interesting. So yes, guys. We're done with the show. I wanted to thank all of you for joining us for the first ever Bit Basel. Our goal is, to continue educating the masses in blockchain and cryptocurrency technology in the digital art and NFT space, and to move the whole ecosystem forward. So thank you guys again for joining us, and please enjoy the rest of the show and have a drink on us, a virtual drink on us.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it in person next time.
Definitely, guys. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.